Scrappy friends, this is Paige Evans, and today I am so excited to share my first blog layout for scrapbook and cards today, featuring my newest collection with pink paisley called Oh My Heart. And I'm still not over stitching. It's just one of my favorite techniques, so I'm going to do it again. So I've created this cut file exclusively for you, and I've included it here in this blog post. I used a pencil to draw the snowflakes, and then I used a paper piercer and poked holes about 1/4 inch all the way around. Then I found some colors of thread to match the colors in the Oh My Heart collection. Before I start stitching, I am erasing the pencil lines just to make sure that they don't show through the stitching. I use all 6 strands of thread. I'm using DMC embroidery floss and a basic back stitch to stitch around all of the snowflakes. So this took some time, a few hours, but I just love the look and feel of stitching. So to me, it's worth it, something that I enjoy doing. It relaxes me, stress reliever, all good things. So that is why I love stitching so much. And again, I wear gloves too, because not even the pointy end of the needle, but the other end of the needle, if I stitch too much, I get a little sore spot. So I wear gloves to protect my fingers, and it's all good. So I am trimming off about 1/2 inch from 2 sides of the background. You can see I used white cardstock in the beginning to do this, and finding the position where I want to place it on this paper. I love how this pattern paper has lots of different patterns, all the different colors, and it makes a nice border for this layout. So I am adding adhesive to the top and side edge. I'm going to carefully place it on top, but then I want to be able to use that pattern paper still. That's so much of an area that I could use on a future project, so I'm going to trim off most of it and just leave the edge peeking through. So cutting off 1.5 inches from the top and right side, just like an L shape, and I have that whole piece of paper to use on a different project. I thought about stitching this in place, not hand stitching, but machine stitching. Didn't end up doing that, and that's okay. I think it still looks great without it. Next, I have 3 square photos of my daughter, Jane, and you might be wondering, why snowflakes? Well, these pictures were technically taken during the winter time, so that's why I used snowflakes, is because they were taken in the winter, and I love how the pink in her shirt matches the pink in the collection. So it works. You know, sometimes things don't really have to have a rhyme or a reason, they just look pretty. There you go. I want to add all the colors, of course, lots of colors behind the trio of photos. So I'm tucking die cuts, the pattern paper tabs that are at the bottom of all the pattern papers. I cut them off and I save them, so I'm using this one with hearts and tucking it underneath. A couple of pattern papers underneath the right and left photos. And then it's time to embellish. So I'm using some of the die cuts, some of the chipboard stickers, and I'll even come in and add some washi. So I'm just trying to create a photo cluster, or a clustering and layering all around the photos to draw the eye right into that area. So you can see me just moving things around. I always say that I don't stick anything down until I like the final placement. Thought about adding one of these stickers, but I think there were already too many sentiments going on. Wonderful you, favorite moment. So I decided against that. Coming in with a little piece of washi. I wanted to bring out more of that orange color, so I just tucked a little orange washi tape underneath. And forget what I said before, I did add another little sentiment from those stickers. I think I'm going to put my journaling right here, so I always draw it with a pencil first to make sure I like it. And it looks good there, so I'm going to write the journaling. Thought about adding some stamping, but for the life of me, I couldn't figure out where. I fussy cut those flowers and tucked it under the picture. And now it's been about 2 weeks and I decided this layout wasn't finished. It looked too empty on the bottom, too much white space, so I just trimmed off the bottom and I'm adding a little piece of that original background paper. So in the beginning, if you are remaking this layout, when you're first trimming this pattern paper, trim off 3 sides instead of 2. Save yourself the hassle. Lining it up against a ruler to make sure it's still 12 inches, and then adhering it in place. So now I feel like the layout is a lot more balanced, and it didn't have that awkward bunch of white space at the bottom, and it's got a really colorful border. And then to finish it up, I decided to drop some watercolors around just for the finishing touch, the absolute finishing touch. Trying to match colors in my Oh My Heart collection, and I didn't want to get paint over the photos, so I just bunched up a piece of printer paper, put it over the photos for a protective layer, and went on my merry way. So I am just, again, mixing colors to match this collection, dropping it in 3 places to create that oh so important visual triangle, and having fun splattering away. So I think I'm going to use yellow, pink, a little bit of aqua, and I'll even mix up some bluish purple for that beautiful cornflower blue. Not quite finished. I think the bottom needed a little bit more yellow to balance it. And then once it's dry, the layout is finished. So before I did add journaling and a little PX sticker, because that is where this layout, or where the pictures were taken. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you are inspired to use this cut file, do some stitching and watercoloring, all fun things, and see you again really soon. Have a good day.